It's Planet Business.
Welcome to the Monday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Monday morning. It is Monday. It is Monday. Okay, let me make sure we got everything here. Ooh. Okay. Perfect. How's everybody doing? I hope everyone had a great weekend. Yesterday we actually had a pretty awesome Mother's Day little activity. Just a little activity. If you guys actually hang out on the Discord from time to time, I've yet to really decide on how I'm gonna do this. But from time to time, I will have a Sunday, Sunday kind of like movie night, where I can just kind of play a movie on the Discord, for those that want to watch, and feel free to hang out. Hey, Jito, Team Mother. Yeah, so we watched I Am Mother, sci-fi movie, pretty cool. And yeah, if you guys want to hang out and participate or have any suggestions as to what movies you guys want to see or watch, just join the Discord. How's it going, Cheeto? Okay, so we do have a couple of headlines to go through. Hey, Memius, how's it going? Yeah, join the Discord. Join the Discord. Join the Discord, you get to hang out with some cool people and also watch movies from time to time. Really quick question, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay? Is it too loud? Like is the microphone too loud? It's a quick get some quick feedback from you guys. Is it okay? It's all right. Okay, good. That's what I want to hear. Really quickly also, thank you so much for the offline follow, Reductive Matter, Barnes, Emma30 for the offline follow. And this Saturday, I would like to thank Ben's community for coming through and just showering this channel with love. Ben's community was extremely generous, extremely kind. So really quick shout out to Bleep Blop Ben. Thank you so much for bringing your community over and showering us with so much love, okay? Thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, so here's something that I wanted to start off with. Okay, I think that this is probably the way to start here. Andres to become the earliest tropical storm on record to form in the Pacific. Tropical Storm Andres on Sunday became the earliest named storm on record to develop in the eastern Pacific Ocean, according to the National Weather Service. The system formed hundreds of miles off the west coast of Mexico and has sustained winds of 40 miles an hour and was moving out to sea at 6 miles an hour as of Sunday morning. It is not expected to threaten land and will probably dissipate within 48 hours. I'd also like to point out that this is May. Okay. I'd like to point out that this is May. Hurricane season doesn't start until, supposedly, another month or so. Yep. Just pointing that out there that this is the new normal, folks. The storm is notable for its early arrival, just beating out the record set by Tropical Storm Adrian, which strengthened to the name status on May 10 of 2017. According to the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, the Eastern Pacific hurricane season runs from May 15th to November 30th. Top forecasters predicted 2021 could pack a wallop with another active above-average hurricane season. Nice. The Atlantic hurricane season runs... Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm wrong. I'm wrong, folks. So the Pacific side is different. Okay, so the Pacific side is different. So this is... I don't know why it would be... I mean, it's 5 days early? Atlantic hurricane season runs from June 1st to November 30th, though storms sometimes form outside those dates. In fact, storms have formed in May in each of the past... Okay, now this is notable. Storms have formed in May in each of the past 6 years. That is notable. Okay. Meteorologist Phil Klotzbach and other experts from Colorado State University expect there will be 17 named storms in the Atlantic and 8 becoming hurricanes. And there it is. And you spread it forward. So hurricane season is getting longer. Well, it's possible that it might get longer, and it might, it's basically starting earlier, more active. I think the most notable trend here is storms have formed in May, which is a month early, in each of the past 6 years. That's the notable thing here. The real story here is how and the National Weather Service has a 90s level GeoCity website. True. How's it going, Memo? Which brings me to the next video.
Was made in collaboration with Our Changing Climate. Be sure to check out their video after this. The world faces a lot of challenges. From poverty, to war, to famine, to disease, our species has a lot of problems that need solving. But there's one problem that is not only incredibly threatening on its own, but also makes all the other problems much worse. Climate change, the result of natural atmospheric changes and intense human activity and pollution, poses an existential threat to not only humans, but countless other species around the world.
True.
If we're going to mitigate some of the worst effects of climate fallout, we need to start making real changes immediately. Unfortunately, that doesn't look like it's going to happen. In this episode, we're going to talk about the basics of climate change and why capitalism is not equipped to handle the crisis. Before we get into the analysis, I think we should start with some simple facts about climate change. I'll start at square zero. Climate change is happening. It is not debatable. Regardless of whether or not you think humans are causing or worsening the problem, you cannot claim that we are not witnessing serious changes to the planet's climate. The evidence is sound and overwhelming. The only detractors are people who are either A, not experts in the field, or B, paid by the oil and gas industry to spread disinformation.
True.
Usually both. Even if you're not convinced by the consensus of the entire scientific community, the effects of climate change are something you can see for yourself. I recently visited Majuro in the Marshall Islands as part of a documentary crew. We saw homes literally being consumed by the sea. Islands and coastal regions are going underwater, and this is only one of the side effects of climate change. Okay, I hope we're on the same page here. Climate change is happening, and the fallout is already doing serious damage to communities around the world. There's a certain type of person who always appears in the comments of this type of video to say things like, humans have nothing to do with climate change, this is just a normal part of Earth's climate cycles. I'm sure there will be some of these people on this video too. To address those people, you're wrong. And even if you were completely correct, the consequences of the changing climate are so severe that we must take significant steps to mitigate the loss of life and spiraling global crises. Think of it like this. If you're out for a walk and someone is driving straight at you and you're clearly going to be run over, what would you do? You'd do everything in your power to avoid being run over, right? Does it really matter whether the driver is purposely trying to kill you or if their brakes are out? No, because the end result is undesirable either way. The things that led up to you having to avoid getting hit by a car shouldn't factor into your consideration of how to respond. The same is true of climate fallout. So, with that out of the way, let's look at a few basic facts about climate change and its disastrous effects. We'll start with the bad news. Even if we completely stopped emitting greenhouse gases today, we've already set in motion a scenario which will inevitably release more warming agents that have been trapped in ice for thousands or millions of years. This will cause serious problems the world over. Already hot areas will face record heat waves and droughts, which will adversely affect food production. Continued warming and acidification of the world's oceans will destroy fragile ecosystems like coral reefs and threaten fish populations which billions of people rely on for food.
Yeah.
Islands and coastal regions are at risk of flooding or
I'd like to point out that these are the exact same things that I've been talking about. Like a broken record. Right? Like a broken record. Hey, Justin, how's it going? Yeah, so I'd like to point out that this is the exact things that I've been talking about, like a broken record, right? The domino effects of climate change, should they not be addressed, are catastrophic. I mean, that's just it.
Complete submersion, as I documented in the Marshall Islands. As warm seasons last longer, disease-carrying insects will become more prevalent and occupy larger areas, infecting countless people with life-threatening illnesses. Farming regions will be at tremendous risk of crop failure as local weather behaves erratically or changes completely. In the developing world, crop failure and drought will combine to create massive water and food shortages, resulting in unspeakable death tolls and the worsening of the world's ongoing poverty and migrant crises. Sooner or later, oil will cease to be the most valuable resource to imperialist nations. It will be replaced by water. When the most basic necessity of life becomes a target for military action and occupation, we will begin to see suffering unlike the human race has ever seen. But
yeah, this is like, to put it simply, this is what I was talking about in terms of like when we run out of when we don't have the ability to grow food. When we don't have the ability to grow food the same way, or when we don't have access to water, this is going to put us on a path for conflict, right? That's just the way it is. Sometimes I stop what I'm doing and just think, geez, is what I am currently doing worth it? The future seems so helplessly brutal. I mean, we can't think about that, right? I think that, like, you know, there is a degree of realistic, you know, just understanding the reality of things. And then there's the idea that no matter what, I think we should always just do the right thing, right? I think we should always do the right thing no matter what. Right? That's right, Memmius. Your grandfather is correct. I mean, it's a precursor to how how awesome we're gonna handle climate change. You're right.
This video isn't about all the specific details of climate fallout. I've covered that topic in previous videos if you're interested. What we really need to talk about is how the current dominant economic system presents an insurmountable obstacle to mitigating climate disaster. So, let's take a look at a few of the actions, as determined by the IPCC, which must be taken immediately or at least in the very near future. According to the IPCC's Climate and Land Report, we need to implement comprehensive early warning systems for extreme weather, as well as other observational programs to monitor land use and degradation, biodiversity, and the spread of disease-bearing insects. We need to fund programs that will encourage sustainable land management, which will prevent desertification and famine. We need to invest in land restoration, bringing damaged or endangered soil and biomes back from the brink. We must drastically reduce greenhouse gas emissions across—
Dang, stuff that I've been talking about like a broken record. One of the pieces of the solution is to invest and pour resources into restoring these destroyed ecosystems or biomes, as he states here, to bring them back, because these are things that keep us alive. That's right, spread it forward. Other countries have started changing ways. South Korea's adding a solar panel covered bike path. Nice. Good morning, ADT. Good morning. This YouTuber must be watching your streams. No. Second thought is huge. Second thought is huge.
Across all sectors, including oil and gas, agriculture, transportation, and leisure. And we need to do all of these things in just a few years to prevent global catastrophe. Now, let's consider the nature of the roadblock that is capitalism. To offer a simple definition, capitalism is an economic system in which the means of production are controlled by private owners and corporations. The primary driver of capitalism is the profit motive, the desire for ever-increasing profits and the accumulation of capital. It should be obvious that the very premise of capitalism is antithetical to any kind of long-term planning. If a system demands greater profits every year, if it demands infinite growth, it will inevitably run into the very real problem of existing on a planet with finite resources. If we look at the decisions made by large multinational corporations, say Exxon for example, it's clear that those decisions are made based solely on the amount of short-term profit they will produce. Back in the 70s, when Exxon was at the forefront of climate research, their scientists determined just how detrimental fossil fuels are to the planet.
Correct, they absolutely knew about this. They researched this, which, this is a new one. This is a new one. Here, I'll link it in chat.
Instead of making this information public and working with policymakers to find a solution, they marked those documents confidential and launched a decades-long propaganda campaign to sow doubt on the effects of greenhouse gas emissions. By doing this, they secured their short-term profits at the expense of the long-term survival of millions of human beings. The same is true of giant companies like Amazon. Jeff Bezos, Amazon CEO and the richest person on the planet, could easily afford to make Amazon employees the best paid workers in the world, thereby securing a happy and loyal labor force and positive public perception of the company. Instead, Amazon is among the worst places to work in the country. We routinely hear horror stories about how employees have to pee in bottles because they'll be fired if they take a bathroom break, or how they've had to ignore a coworker who had died on the floor. Reducing overhead by exploiting workers yields greater short-term profits, but it turns the public against the company, causes massive turnover, and damages their own long-term survival by ensuring its workers have neither the time nor the disposable income to buy their products. This kind of behavior is common among capitalist companies, including many smaller ones. Today, it's exceptionally rare to find a job that pays a reasonable salary or offers benefits of any kind. The name of the game is reducing costs to maximize profits. That is the only goal of capitalism. So, if we can't count on capitalism to even take care of the workers that keep the system running, how can we expect it to make provisions for people on the other side of the world, or who haven't even been born yet? The scientific community knows that nothing will get done unless there's a profit to be made, so their reports often contain return on investment timelines and estimates. But if you look at their numbers, there's no way an oil executive or a cruise line CEO would go for it. Sustainable land management programs that might be profitable in 10 years? The cruise and oil industries are incredibly profitable now. Why would they take a reduction in profits when those profits are their sole motivating factor? And if the big lobbies won't go for it, neither will the politicians who rely on their donations. The most damaging industries also just so happen to have the largest political lobbies. They make tremendous profits from exploiting workers at home and abroad, not to mention the limited resources of the Earth itself. And they're willing to shell out tens of millions of dollars to fund politicians and propaganda campaigns so they can keep doing it.
True.
Even if you're inclined to be optimistic and hope that these people will have a change of heart, just look at the historical record. When multinational companies set up shop in Central America, they made enormous profits. They could have paid their local workers a good wage, or at least a living wage. Instead, they were little more than slaves. The workers were brutalized by corporate paramilitary groups. They had their families threatened if they weren't productive enough. Some parents even received the severed hands of their children if they didn't meet their required quota. If these people were willing to maim or even kill their workers, why would we assume they would be willing to make massive concessions to help mitigate climate fallout? To take a more recent example, I live in Texas.
The temperature is the lowest they've seen in decades.
Well, I mean, yeah, this is the more extreme, you know, examples, but the idea being, I don't believe that the for-profit system is going to take care of climate change. We need to change our values first, and the system will change. I mean, maybe. Did you see the one on anti-Asian violence? No. But, I mean, like, I mean, what's there to say about it? It's horrifying. Okay? You shouldn't be attacking people based on their race. Correct. Without understanding that that our values are self-centered and favor private ownership, greed and self-preservation will not be able to overcome our problem. I suggest you watch it after. Yeah, we'll take a look at it later because we've got a lot of headlines to go through. The point being is, I don't believe that the private system is. I don't believe the market is equipped to handle climate change. Gotta go. All right. Thank you for stopping by, Siparsky.
More than 620,000 waking up without power in Texas this morning.
During the recent winter storm that knocked out the state's power grid, it became clear that deregulation and rampant cost cutting were a major part of the problem.
Yeah,
Texas
no
has
kidding.
its own electrical grid, separate from the country's two primary grids.
Most
the
of it.
goal was to completely deregulate the Texas energy market to free it from the evils of bureaucracy. The end result, as we should expect, was rampant corruption, price gouging, and cost cutting. Officials decided not to take precautionary measures like winterproofing our electrical infrastructure.
Oh yeah,
Because of this, millions of
dozens of people that died. Yeah.
Texans lost power, had no access to clean drinking water, and some even froze to death in their own homes. This example is perhaps even more damning than the previous one, because it deals specifically with infrastructure. The majority of climate mitigation measures will be investments in infrastructure. If these critical projects are avoided simply as a way to cut costs, people will die. And unfortunately, I think this negligent behavior is what we need to expect from private corporations and corporate-owned politicians. The only goal of capitalism, the only thing that matters, is profit. Profits must increase every year. The entire history of capitalism is the history of the exploitation of working people, especially by multinational corporations and the US military operating in the global south. Climate change is shaping up to be the single most expensive challenge humanity has ever faced. The world is relying on the wealthiest nations, those that disproportionately contribute to emissions and consumption, to lead the way in fighting climate change. As we've seen in the last decade, There hasn't been a single administration willing to take steps bold enough to meet the challenge. All we've seen is politicians paying lip service to established science while peddling woefully insufficient policies that are rarely acted upon. If we want to ensure a livable future for the human race, we must move past capitalism.
True.
Capitalism is incapable of solving the problems it creates.
Well,
it is
in terms of
entirely
climate
beholden
change,
to
yeah.
the profit motive, and no amount of flowery language, greenwashing, or reform will ever change that. If you'd like to learn more about the specifics of capitalism and its relationship to the climate crisis, I highly recommend you check out our Changing Climate's companion video. It's a great crash course on the history of capitalist exploitation of the people and the planet. If you enjoyed this video, consider dropping a like.
True. I get to be here for a full stream. My boss is gone all week. Nice. Hey. Hey, Surfer Go Philly. How's it going? Yeah, so basically, I think like the more important, TLDR to get from this is that, yeah, capitalism is not, or the private market is not going to, is woefully inequipped to solve climate change at this point. It's just not going to happen. It's just not equipped, nor incentivized to solve the climate crisis. And that's the real TLDR of what we can gather from that. It's going well. Miss having my computer as it's getting a new battery, but hopefully midweek I get it back. Nice. Oh, I see here. You redeemed a random rift on the mandolin. Okay, we'll see what we can do here. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. Alright, hold on, folks. This is a guitar pick, but it's gonna have to work. Okay, so I'm gonna cheat a little bit by pulling up some chords and figuring this out. What note is this? Don't like it. So let's see, we can do this one. Aha, okay. Aha. It is a G. It is a G. That is correct, Mamius. Okay, so I may or may not have cheated. I used a chord chart to kind of make something up here. G, C, D, A. I think that's A. Yeah. It's A. Yeah. So I did a half cheat, okay? It was a semi-cheat. Oops, sorry. You were jamming along the guitar? Nice. That's awesome. Simply understand material conditions suddenly when I'm married to... Yeah, so, it's not gonna happen like that, realistically speaking. I think that, like, a lot of what we should be thinking about in terms of, like, climate change is how do we, it's how do we make people see the bigger picture, right? I think that's, like, the biggest task. I think that's the biggest task that we have as humans, is to... 'cause just generally speaking, we have a big problem seeing like the big picture of things, right? You know, it doesn't affect us now. We don't really see it. You know, some people, you know, haven't really experienced climate change yet, right? So you know, it's just not something that we are good at. We're not good at seeing the big picture, and I think that is one of our tasks, is to make people understand what exactly are we dealing with here, and what are the ramifications of failing to do so. Right, spread it forward. Right. So I think that that's another, like, mega obstacle that we have to overcome, because if people understand, or if people are more informed and realize the bigger picture, right? They see the whole picture, instead of just you know, what happens in the next, like, 2 years, right? Then I think that they would be more inclined to act, and acting accordingly means accepting the fact that there are changes that are necessary, right? We have to move towards renewable energy. We have to pour resources. It's not really optional, right? It's not really optional. We have to pour resources into restoring these ecosystems that keep us alive. We have to pour resources after we have a plan of our own to get an international coalition together and pour resources into the countries that can't, right? This isn't an option. This isn't like a... Well, realistically speaking, I mean, of course, the option is not doing anything. Everything just continues to go down a catastrophic path. But I mean, like, if we want a true a solution, then these are some of the things that we need to take into effect. Hey, Heat, how's it going? Oh my goodness, so many wonderful people in chat. How's it going? How's it going, Nasu? There we go. So yeah, if we want to begin to address this issue, one of the things is we just have to, like, get people to understand the big picture, right? That's one of the many tasks. One of the bigger ones in front of us, that's for sure. Of course, Heat. Morning, Nasu. Of course, that is one of the many obstacles, and I think one of the bigger ones is to make people understand the severity of the situation and what they can do, right? So on Saturday, we went over an article about how the Eastern gasoline pipeline was disrupted because of a cyber attack. Well, it turns out we got more information. I was wrong in my original assumption. So let's go over it. If you guys were here on... No, stop trying to get me notifications. So if you guys were here on Saturday, we did go over some of this. Apparently, we do have more information. It was carried out by a criminal gang known as Darkside that cultivates a Robin Hood image of stealing from corporations and giving a cut to charity. Huh. The shutdown, meanwhile, stretched into its third day with the Biden administration loosening regulations of transport. Yeah, so I would argue if their intent was to steal or like damage corporations, I don't know if this is what you should do, okay? Because like, you just made it worse for everybody. So they are the good people? I don't know. I mean, like, maybe in their intentions, but the actual, I guess, long term is they actually did more damage. I mean, yeah, sure, you stopped this company from getting money and then you give a cut to charity. Okay, yeah, sure, awesome. Except now, you forced, because the company isn't gonna stop. The company isn't gonna stop. Hey, KTS. The company isn't gonna stop. You just opened up a situation where they loosened regulations and are now transporting petroleum products on highways. Do you know what that does? Yeah, that's right. It makes more emissions. You just greenlighted deregulation for a moment, and now, number one, they are still transporting this, greenlit, yeah. You just greenlit the loosening of regulations, which is only to the benefit of the company. So, not sure you did the thing that you were attempting to do, right? And furthermore, they get to use trucks. The only thing to be noted here is how weak our infrastructure is. The only thing to be noted here is how weak our infrastructure is, right? And how sad that it's like completely disruptible. And again, okay, they did the Robin Hood thing. They give cuts to charity. They even have their own customer service. Jeez. But you just, I think, objectively did the bad in the long run, right? This is why we need trains, yeah. But trains that run green, Okay. Yeah, so that's the update on the attack on this gasoline pipeline. I mean, again, like, I think objectively they ended up doing more bad than good, despite their intentions. This is the worst cyber attack to date on critical US infrastructure, should serve as a wake-up call to companies about vulnerabilities they face. Well, this is the problem with allowing a with allowing this to be like, you know, critical infrastructure to be allowed to be like privatized, right? The cutting of corners is, we just talked about this. We just talked about the problems with cutting corners for the sake of squeezing out another penny, right? Critical infrastructure like this should be left to the federal government, and this brings up a great opportunity to revamp it and make it green and renewable. To be honest, from what I can hear, electric companies are easily hackable too. Yeah, I mean, we saw what happened in Florida. You know, we went over this we went over this this article where our water treatment plant was like basically running on TeamViewer. I mean, not exactly the ideal operational security, but this, yeah, this definitely should be a argument as to why some of these critical infrastructure stuff need to be in the hands of the government, and why, and also an opportunity to revamp it and make it green, right? All right, I believe this was actually KTS who put this here. Let me see on the Discord.
Meanwhile, a bill to add a firing squad as a method of lethal execution is close to becoming law in South Carolina. That bill is on its way to the governor's desk. The House passed it on Wednesday. Right now, there are 37.
First of all, I think that, like, number one to be said about this is like, I don't know about the death penalty, you know? I don't know if I want the state to have the final say on somebody's life like that. I don't know. I don't know if I want the state to have that power. I'm just not comfortable with that. The grid itself is hackable. It's not in a closed system, but part of the internet. True. Which is, needless to say, that's a problem.
Death row inmates in South Carolina. It's been 10 years since the state's last execution, and there's been a nationwide shortage of lethal injection drugs. This would make South Carolina only the 4th state to allow a firing squad. It's already...
I also would like to point out that, like, lethal injection can sometimes go horrifyingly wrong to the point where, well, I would argue, KTS, that sometimes, like, the lethal injection method can go so horrifyingly wrong. That it's I would argue that could also be you know, like, cruel and inhumane. So this is why I'm, like, leaning towards, like, can we just not do that, and can we not give the state that ability to make a decision on somebody's life like that? I don't know. South Carolina Republicans are too busy working on the real issues to help with climate change. True. Lethal injection is literally torture. Yeah, so, and especially, like, with the lack of, I don't know, so they make it so you can't move or you can't speak. Yeah, so you don't, I mean, ooh, it's just horrifying. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, the liquid fire, especially 1 out of 10 people are innocent on death row. Yeah, my point being is, like, I'm not comfortable giving the state that ability. Killing people in principle is cruel and unusual. Yeah.
already one of just 9 that still use the electric chair. Governor Henry McMaster has indicated he will sign that bill.
Yeah. I don't know. Not a fan. Not a fan. I think that first and foremost, we should be moving to a more rehabilitative system in terms of our instead of the punishment system, punitive system, I should say. And I mean, life in prison is still a thing, okay? You know, life in prison is still a thing. I don't know why we should expand, you know, the state's power to just make that decision to end somebody's life. You know, especially when there is, albeit, you know, when there is a possibility that they get it wrong. I like South Carolina less and less each year. I haven't seen the Humanist Report in a while. Ooh.
Just because
the CEO of a Seattle-based company made headlines back in 2015 when he announced that he'd be cutting his own pay in order to boost the salaries for all of his employees. And his name is Dan Price because he doesn't put a price on the worth of his employees.
All right, hold on. I mean, he definitely has a new setup, that's for sure. While other states are fighting to get rid of the death penalty, South Carolina is fighting it to make even crueler. Yeah, like...
But he returned to Fox Business News to offer them some advice on what policies would actually help small businesses. And what he recommended, it shocked the Fox News host. In fact, his head nearly exploded. You're going to see his response when Dan Price actually recommends single-payer healthcare specifically to help small businesses. This is gold.
If you want to help small businesses, one of the ways to do it is to take the burden of healthcare away from those small businesses. Small businesses like mine could pay a lot more in wages and provide a better incentive for employees. Also, if we raise the minimum wage, we'll be able to then have that funnel upward with the economy, because right now we have 1/3 of all American wealth stuck at the very top with the billionaires. If we can have a bottom-up economy that works for everybody, we can provide the right incentives for employees.
So you think by making it more expensive for a small business, it's going to help them?
Well, actually, when I started my small business, healthcare was one of my biggest costs, and it still is today. But that money actually comes out of my ability to pay employees higher wages. So instead of a $70,000 minimum wage, I could have an $85,000 minimum wage if we had a healthcare system that, instead of being a giveaway for the insurance companies, actually provided healthcare for people all over the place.
I absolutely applaud Dan Price. What he's doing here is so important. Fox Business, they don't like to listen to people unless they're in powerful positions, unless they're business leaders. So Dan Price is the one CEO who actually goes on Fox News and challenges their narrative. He's the only business leader who actually bursts Fox News's bubble. Because if you tune into Fox Business, they're doing nothing but propaganda at the behest of pro-corporate America. I mean, just watch 5 minutes of Stuart Varney and you'll see how they don't actually even try to appeal to normal viewers. This is all...
Yeah, you like how the host tries to rephrase it? Yeah. Is he pretending that his company pays for health insurance? Well, some companies do, right? It doesn't make sense if businesses don't have to cover healthcare. They have to offer it, but the employee pays it? Well, the employee pays some of it, for sure. The employee pays some of it. Like, well, I don't know. Maybe it depends on the company, I should say. Because, for example, I would pay, I think mine is like, fuck, I don't remember. It's like, I'm just gonna throw out a number. Mine is like $40, right? And they pay 100 and something out of it, right? So, yes, I do pay some of it, but the company pays the rest of it. And besides, like, if you don't have to pay for healthcare, that is a cost that you save. I don't get it. If businesses don't have to cover it, right?
All about appeasing the business class. And it's really transparent. It's despicable. So when you actually challenge their narrative, they don't know how to respond. And so even after Dan Price very clearly laid out how making this burden of healthcare go away would help small businesses, the Fox News host didn't know how else to respond. So he just says, oh, so you think that by making it more expensive for small businesses is going to help them? No, he literally just said the opposite. Were you not listening? He said if these small businesses don't have to pay for healthcare for their employees, if this was just something that was guaranteed by the government, they would actually have more money. They could actually pay their workers more. It's like everything.
Now, that doesn't mean that companies will automatically pay their workers more. However, I mean, he would. Someone like him, he would. But at the very least, your healthcare wouldn't depend on whether or not you have this job. Like, they're covering a portion of it, but it comes out of your labor to pay for that, and they're taking credit for it. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you put it that way. Hey, sourcing. Yeah, but its workers are more stable and thus can demand better wages. Yeah. That's exactly Wing. So, like, even if you just take that burden away, where companies don't have to pay for healthcare, or that's just not a thing. It's just done with a universal healthcare system, right? Even if you don't get a penny in raise, you at least don't have to rely on your job for healthcare, or at the very least you already have it, right? Even my right-wing Ted Cruz loving brother recognizes this as a small business owner. True.
That Dan Price was saying, it just went in one ear and out the other, and the Fox News host just had nothing left to say, so he just reverted back to his original talking points. Oh, well, you want to hurt small businesses with Medicare for all? No, dummy. I'm literally explaining how this helps small businesses. And it's not like Dan Price is some radical socialist who's saying this, whereas, other businesses wouldn't necessarily have the same opinion, because other small businesses have echoed the same exact sentiment. And as Dr. Erica Gonzalez wrote in an op-ed for The Hill, the impact the rising costs of health expenditures reached $3.8 trillion in 2019 and are expected to rise to $6.2 trillion in 7 years, are having on Main Street is a serious threat to our economy and society. In fact, a national survey of more than 800 small business owners conducted by Small Business for America's Future found that desperate small business owners are being crushed by healthcare costs and overwhelmingly demand government action to relieve the burden. As an example of how bad the problem is, the survey found that 55% of small business owners say the cost of providing health insurance to their employees is the biggest challenge they face. And here's the kicker: the difficulty of insuring workers surpass taxes, corporate competition, and even COVID-19.
Jesus.
Half of survey respondents report providing health insurance as a benefit. 76% of the small business owners that do not provide insurance say it's because the cost of doing so is too high. An alarming 53% of small business owners who do offer insurance say they have considered dropping it because of the cost. Not surprising when 9 in 10 survey respondents said their health insurance costs increased over the past 4 years, with 40% responding that costs have risen by 10% or more a year. So
For absolutely no reason, too. That's the infuriating part, too. It's for no reason, right? I mean, it's not like they're magically increasing your, it's not like you're magically getting better health care for these increases in costs, right? Everyone pays their own via single payer, and it comes out of your federal taxes. No worrying about getting a job that offers insurance and using that as an incentive, right? The only people's taxes who should raise theoretically are those making well over the average income and holding wealth in the millions, right? Which is the idea, always. I mean, yeah. Listen, if you're living in this country and you are in the top like 1%, and this country effectively made you, then you owe it back, right? I mean, it's as simple as that. This country made you. This country allowed you to be what you are. Pay it back. We pay 5 times for the worst healthcare. Some people don't even go because they're afraid of the bill. Yeah, that's a huge problem. Preventative care. Yeah. Yeah. So and when with worse conditions over time due to neglect, which in turn is more expensive, which is like just beyond me as to why that's like a thing. Yeah. I don't believe that for-profit healthcare should be like a thing. I don't think that it provides what it claims to provide, and furthermore, we're not even getting better healthcare or the X amount of times that we pay for it, and premiums continue to rise, but our healthcare doesn't, right? It's not like we get these phenomenally different outcomes than countries with universal systems. We actually get pretty much like more or less. We produce more or less the same outcomes, but we pay a bunch more for what? Why do we need profit on any level? In terms of health insurance? No.
it makes sense to suggest that a single-payer healthcare system would absolutely be a boost to small businesses. In fact, some of the candidates who I've spoken with who are running for Congress in red districts, they actually don't use the usual arguments that I make on this program to sell Medicare for All. They sell it as a tax cut for small businesses because it's technically literally that. If you alleviate this burden from small businesses, then imagine how much more money they'd have, not just to pay their employees, but to actually expand their businesses, grow. So I think that this is a no-brainer. What's shocking to me is just the fact that a CEO said this on Fox Business News. Like, I get that this is Dan Price, and he's usually pretty based. He's known for saying awesome things like this. But, you know, it's nice to have one person at least going on Fox News and pushing back against their pro-corporate narrative. That's really, really awesome to see. And whenever I see this happening, I always feel the need to showcase it on this program because it gives me hope. And when we're in this time where, you know, the situation, the future looks bleak, to say the least, I think that we need to really celebrate the small victories. And I think that Dan Price saying this on Fox News, you know, saying this to an audience who wouldn't necessarily be receptive to this message, in and of itself, that is a victory. And I'm going to take it.
Alright, yeah, fair point. Alright, I haven't seen the humanist report in a while, but fair point. I just want to live in peace, not accumulating too much because I can't take it with me in the grave. Yeah, I understand. If we pay everyone 100k for 7 years, that's 7 million bucks. Wait. $32 trillion. Welcome, welcome. I think I don't know, the math, I'm not a math person, but something doesn't add up on that one. Oh, 7 million. I'm thinking, oh, oops, I may have made a mistake. I mean, like, there's nothing wrong. Okay, so the idea, you know, people have different wants and needs, right? Some people don't want much, and that's okay. The problem is when you want so much that you become a detriment in society, where you trample and you do it at the expense of people. That is where we become, bro, that's where we have problems. The market prices are the way they are due to supply and demand, kind of. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, of course, dude. A UBI isn't the solution. Yeah, I've always said I'm not really 100% sold on UBI. I mean, I guess I don't know. It just depends on how you deploy it, but I'm not like 100% on UBI. Universal basic income. So everybody gets X amount of money. No matter what. Every adult gets, I don't know, $1,000 a month, no matter what. Like, the problem is, okay, that might be helpful in some situations, but like, what if that $1,000 a month comes at the expense of important social safety nets? That would be bad. Or how are you necessarily going to like deploy it? I'm good with livable wages, but I also think we should just handle basics in society so that one can live regardless of whether or not they are in a position that they can work at any given moment. Yeah, I mean, like, if you're just, yeah, if you're talking about like just the basics, yeah, I think that's good. The thing about UBI is it still funnels money back to the corporations, maybe. 7 equals 30 quadrillion. Wait, hold on. Are we having a serious math disconnect? That's e to the 15th, that's a trillion. Wait, hold on. And anyways, the point being is, like, I'm not necessarily in favor of a, look, I can't math. I'm not necessarily in favor of like a UBI to solve these issues. I think that it's just, I think that we should just have a better a better system and work on it, right? And just work on that. I mean, if we can have a system that takes care of the basics and gives people the tools that they need to succeed, like food, housing, education, and healthcare, I think that we're on the right step. Yeah. I think that we'd be on the right path, right? If we can just get a society that takes care of the basics so that people don't alright. Well, there you have it, folks. So that we can so that we can give the individual the tools that they need to succeed. We'd be on the right path, right? Because then, like, what is the point of having society if we can't take care of the individual, right? What is the point of having all of this wealth and resources and power if we can't even take care of the basics? If we can't even take care of the individual, right? I mean, it's simple as that. We should have the basic necessities to give the tools for people to succeed, and I think that the basics are that: food, housing, education, and healthcare. It's amazing how Republican parties basically sleep on owning the libs. To a degree, it's true. Ron DeSantis doesn't even have good or unique policies. He just pisses off the left and behaves like Trump. Yeah, well, the thing about, like, I don't know. I feel like Ron DeSantis is trying to build up his national profile to run. So he's posturing and doing all these things. I mean, he literally claimed during the elections. Hey, John, how's it going? He literally claimed during our elections that Florida ran one of the most smooth and quick and very well run elections in the country. Florida. Which is true. I mean, Florida got the results. Everybody did their thing. It was incredibly smooth. There was very little hiccups in Florida. You know, Florida being Florida. There was not really that much of a deal, right? Florida got the votes, counted the votes, and they had results, I think, within the next day or so, right? And then he needs to implement or deploy election integrity or election, like, integrity regulations. Like, wait, so did we or did we not have the most smooth and secure elections? It just feels like it's political posturing. BI lessons, UBI lessons system depending on the forced desperation. The idea is to promote a freedom to choose between higher education, jobs, and living situation, take the employer's power away and give the power to the labor. Yeah, I mean, but like, if you wanna balance that, I think that we should try to get more unions. I think that we should try to get more unions. He's offering no good or unique policies, except even if you're for the better, even if you're a conservative. Yeah, I mean, it's all just posturing. Offering solutions to problems that don't exist, right? But unions aren't created equal. Right, sure, but that's, I mean, like, I'm pretty sure that always, because it turns out there's humans, and humans can be bad. I know humans can be bad, but I think that for the most part, I think that the overall benefit of unions would be good. I got a message from a content creator who wants to start a union for content creators. I think that would be awesome. I also know that Universal Discourse is working on something like that too. Yeah, I mean, unions can be run by bad people and can be poorly run and can give unions a bad name, but I think that the overall net gain from them is positive. Alright, folks. This is a story from Florida. Democrats prepare for all-in Florida fight against rising GOP star Ron DeSantis. After nearly a decade of disappointment in the Sunshine State, Democrats are throwing themselves back into the breach with a major effort to topple Florida Governor DeSantis. I honestly think they're not going to succeed. I really think so. It would have to be multiple unions working together on Twitch until they are big enough and they could merge if they choose. Or at least have a collective overhead if they choose. Yeah, I mean, it's an idea. You hear that, Grolum? A Fox News phenomenon and potential 2024 presidential contender in a re-election race that will be a major test of whether Trump's vision for the Republican Party has staying power in a closely divided state. Closely divided state? What? Florida was very, very one-sided. Florida's very one-sided. It's pretty red. I don't know what this means. And also, I think that, like, Trump does have a hold on the GOP, and I think that it's gonna negatively affect them. But that's on them. I also think that, however, I also think, the Democratic Party is not going to succeed in defeating Ron DeSantis. You know what I think they should focus on? The state legislature. I think they should focus on the state legislature. The big partners will fight that shit tooth and nail. I mean, it's possible, Grolum. It's possible. Especially if enough, like, from the ground work, especially if enough, like, groundwork happens. I don't know. I'm not saying it's gonna 100% work, but I'm saying it's possible. I don't even know anything about Florida. Who should I vote for? Not DeSantis. How about that? Let's start there. Let's start there. I can do an all Florida. I can make like Florida man streams. Jesus. I mean, it's true to her word, I guess. To her name. Misbehaving. That would be fun. Just, out in the swamps or Miami Beach talking to the locals. Huh. I think unions are a great idea when they are enabled. I just think part of them has been exploited to becoming continued reinforced use of negotiating and bipartisanship between an employer and labor that hasn't exactly worked out for anyone. What did the last couple UAW strikes accomplish? Well, I mean, like, they definitely, I mean, didn't they get concessions? Didn't we get, like, concessions? Well, didn't the UAW get concessions? I mean, that would be interesting, right? Doing like IRL streams, but I don't know. I'm kind of. Are you vaccinated? Not yet. I'm gonna make an appointment. Oh, my parents told me to go get vaccinated at Walgreens. So, because they have the Pfizer one, so I'm thinking like I could get something maybe Friday morning. Yeah, do it, girl. Do it. I know Myro before he was a streamer and surpassed me. Yes, get your vaccines up. Can someone give me a brief history of UAW? I know they were pretty racist like 50 years ago. I don't know. Well, certain folks don't want to be around each other, but as a solution because this ain't working. Hey, we all live here, Jeffrey James. Like, what is... Like, do you not care? Like, hold on. Are these the same people that are, like, claiming how they care about this country? Are these the same people claiming to care about this country, but also advocating for, like, secession instead of, like, understanding that we all live here? Like, wait, what? Are these the same patriots? Are these the same patriots who, like, want secession, but also claim to want, like... also claim to care about the United States in the same breath? 1/3 of buildings are boarded up. This ain't working no more. Yeah, I understand that certain areas, and yeah, I know it's bad. Like, riots are bad. I get it. But what is the solution? I don't know. What caused these things? How did we get here? That's the questions that we should be asking. How did we get here? Well, it turns out when you kick issues down the road for so long and decades of just like not addressing these issues, most of them being socioeconomic, these things bubble up. You want a solution? Start advocating for politicians and lobbying politicians to provide real solutions. Okay? To provide real solutions. Get social programs enacted. Get people food, housing, education, and healthcare. Wait, LA? Hold on. Wait a minute, LA? Oh, I see. But good news is it was rebuilt with all the insurance money. No. No. So, just to be clear. Wait till the no rent payments expire? Yeah, that's a problem. So, our government, which the last administration and this one is failing to address, yeah, we should probably fix that. Yeah, that's my entire point, Grolem. It's part of a bigger problem, okay? Instead of saying, oh, well, we can't do anything about it, I guess secession is guys, we can't do nothing about it, right? We can't, nothing, there's just nothing to be done, is nonsense. Oh, and there it is. And there it is, folks. See, that doesn't take long. There it is, folks. That doesn't take long. Oh, yeah. No, that's... That's an easy one. And there it is. And there it is. I live in the deep dive with another streamer. I think will be a major chicken shortage because the truck drivers refuse to haul stinky chickens for $8 an hour. Oof. It'd be cool if people would have some surface level of interest in the BS they claim, right? You see how we started, right? We started with, oh, I'm concerned about what's been happening here in this contained area. Even though, again, it's not to be endorsed, but it is contained in certain areas, right? This isn't like a widespread thing. I'm concerned about this. Okay, well, that's bad, but why is it happening? No interest in that. No interest in any real solutions. I wonder what his next step was. I wasn't really about this. I wasn't really about to let that continue any further than that. You see, like, these type of people don't last very long. Like, the mask, they can't hold the mask very long, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure that he would be fine with that. That person would be fine with that, Grillum. Like, okay. Okay, dude. There it is. And there it is. Blaming, like, immigration when the subject at hand, you came here with the concern about what's happening in your area, and your immediate thought process was to point the finger at immigration when it had absolutely, like, okay, it's scary because that dude, I'm sure, is convinced he's not racist. Right. Exactly. This is borderline, like, I mean, this is almost borderline like Tucker Carlson stuff, right? I mean, hey, he's free to listen and maybe, you know, maybe have a different opinion later down the line, instead of, like, blaming immigrants having 8 children. What does that even mean? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, that's right, KTS. Like, it doesn't last very long, does it? The mask never, like, things like this, the mask never lasts very long, right? Anyways. Back into the breach with major effort to topple Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Not gonna happen. I think that, honestly, the Democratic Party should be focusing on the state legislature. I mean, of course, they should put up a good candidate to potentially go up against Ron DeSantis, but I think that their major focus should be gaining ground on the state legislature. Yeah, very nationalistic and libertarian from those few talking points. Yeah. Representative Charlie Crist is elected governor of the state as a Republican in 2006, became the first to announce his candidacy on Tuesday, declaring that he hoped to restore civility instead of demonizing who had different points of view. Wait. So in other words, what you're saying is, like, your big idea is to essentially pit a Republican against a Republican. I mean, sure. If we seize this moment, if we take this chance, if we focus on the things that unite us, we can create the Florida we know is possible. What does that even mean? Florida is not divided. Florida is very red. Florida is very red. I don't know what this divided stuff comes from. I never understand how more people can be bad for consumer economy. Like, obviously, if we have like 1 trillion people show up, I don't know if the economy can handle that, but like, generally speaking, so far, immigration has been a net positive for the economy. Like, that's like, okay, so just to be clear, the people who are arguing against immigration are usually talking about, first of all, the southern border, which isn't even the main source of undocumented immigrants, right? It's not even the main source of undocumented immigrants. But their arguments always boil down to, I just don't like these people. Think about it. What is the economic argument? There is none. Generally speaking, immigrants provide a net positive to the economy. So what's the argument there? The culture. Well, you'll be happy to know that a lot of these immigrants, Central American immigrants, are, generally speaking, more conservative than liberal, and are very aligned with, like, democracy and hard work, right? So where's the argument there? It's not that. They're the most hardest working people you'll meet. Yeah, there you go. Latinos for Trump. There you go. So it's not the culture. That's not an argument. It's not the economy. That's not an argument. What is it? They're definitely not stealing your jobs. It's just you don't like these people. That's what it is. Tucker Carlson told you to not like these people. That's what it is. Twitter does this all the time, as well as Poo Poo Bennett. It's not Boo Boo, it's Poo Poo Bennett. They interview people and feign concern, and they get mad when they say something as they go to a response. Right, exactly, girl. I had a Canadian use me to get a 3-year Tennessee visa once and then bail on the job once he got there. Damn Canadians. Latinos for Trump is huge in SoCal, and it's very. Oh, hey guys, yeah. These are also the same people who are, what is it that Tucker said? Coming to replace you, right? Coming to stop you from having political power, right? The people who are advocating for Latinos for Trump. Yeah, these are. You see how, like, this just boils down to, I don't like these people. That's what it is. That's what it is. I mean, like, immigration netted the Republican Party 1 vote in my family. In my family alone, it netted them 1 vote because my parents are conservative. So it's a 2-to-1. They netted 1. But yeah, let's keep let's keep, you know, blaming all our problems on immigration, the southern border. We have George St. Pierre, true. Personally, I wouldn't work in the US even if you did have a healthcare system. Yeah, we don't have that much like we don't have that much in terms of like worker protections. And the stuff that we do have is like, I mean, it's hard to enforce, you know? There's a lot of problems. Or if you speak ill of gravy fries or maple syrup. Wait, now hold on. What are gravy fries? Can somebody explain to me that? What are gravy fries? Wait, I need to look this up. Hold on. Pause. Gravy fries. What is this? You don't know what poutine is? No. Wait, what is this? No, I haven't. You culture swine. Why would anybody make what? This isn't a thing. I'm sorry, hold on. Poutine. Okay, now I know how to pronounce it. Wait, who does this? This isn't a thing. Pronounced poutine. Got it. It's a beautiful thing. It's a Canadian thing. This isn't a thing at all. Why? Why would you? What? No. I like French fries. And I like gravy to an extent. But, ooh. I think I'm gonna get cancelled by my Canadian audience here. I think I'm gonna get cancelled by my Canadian audience here. You don't like mashed potatoes with gravy and cheese? I'm borderline about to cancel my subscription. Poutine is great, you just have to live with that difficult truth. Oof. Oof. I mean, I like mashed potatoes. I sometimes like eat gravy with it, but not cheese. Not cheese. It's okay, Canada. Oh my god. No. It does feel like a South thing, right? You know, what if we deep fry our mashed potatoes and gravy and then added cheese? I don't know. I mean, I guess okay, I can't really say I don't know. What is the saying? You can't. I would like a refund for all my subs, sir. No. I guess I can't knock it until I try it. The US should become Southern Canada, in my opinion. I guess I can't knock it till I try it, but still, I don't know. Poutine is basically Canadian Lomo Santa. Okay, well now you're speaking my language. Okay, well now I understand. Okay, well now I understand. See, we're not that much different. Whoa, my chat just like... Okay, there we are. When I visited Quebec, they gave me frozen maple syrup. It was pretty good. Frozen maple syrup? What? Now I want to try Lomo Saltao. Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. See, we're not so different. I will extend an olive branch to my Canadian friends, okay? I like maple syrup, and I won't eat, like that pancake, like, syrup mix. I'll eat maple syrup, okay? That is my olive branch. The US doesn't exist. Or is South Canada. Hey everybody, what are we talking about this morning? Hey Melly, how's it going? Carne asada fries is the best? Yes. You just walked into a conversation where I almost got cancelled by almost not being on board with poutine, which is apparently lomo saltado, which is some, you know, some version of like mashed, like fries with gravy and cheese. And it's pretty good. Huh, interesting. Yeah, you walked into a debate of potatoes. That is correct. You walked into a debate of potatoes. But I'm heavy in the camp of heirloom, russet or heirloom potatoes. I don't know. Okay, at least I feel qualified to discuss this then. All right. I'm in favor of the potatoes that the store has in stock. True. Look, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, okay? I don't know too much between the differences of potatoes, okay? I know there's like sweet potatoes and then there's like the rest of them. There's a whole world of potatoes. Oh no. Yeah, I'm sure there are. I thought Americans eat yams. Yeah, Have you visited any other countries? I've been to Costa Rica and I've been to Guatemala. Sweet potatoes aren't potatoes? Yeah, they are. Well, they're a kind of potato. Yams are just canned sweet potatoes. Okay, we tried growing sweet potatoes, we tried growing sweet potatoes in my parents' house and it didn't go too well. Oh, sweet potatoes are roots? Definitely visit Canada, especially Montreal. It's like visiting Europe, but cheaper. Nice. Tubers. Oh no. Tubers, Uber Alice? No. Oh man. Like YouTubers. True. If you're going vegetarian, vegan, potatoes are the best thing. A tuber. Ah. Interesting. Or salsa on salted and prepared Idaho potatoes. You can't go wrong. True. Yes, that's right, Memo. Chinese yam, tuberose, hemerocalis. Oh, we're getting a whole breakdown of potatoes. We're getting a whole breakdown of potatoes. We're going full potato stream. Well, if that happens, then I need to like have a lot of technical difficulties and like reduce my resolution to like 144p. That's what I'm doing. I'm just gonna stream potatoes. Hey, if you wanna learn potatoes, hello Grolem. Just the ones in my stew are the best. Changing name to Grolem the Potato. Nice. Oh shoot. Now I'm getting... Hold on, really? Is anybody watching this?
Few good taters. What's taters, precious? What's taters, huh? Potatoes. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. Boil 'em, mash 'em, boil 'em, boil 'em, boil 'em, mash 'em, boil 'em, boil 'em, boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. Boil 'em, mash 'em, boil 'em, boil 'em. Potato, 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 potato. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew.
You're gonna be in deep potato advertising after this stream. True.
Potatoes. Taters. What's taters, huh? Taters. What's taters, huh? Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew.
Oh man.
What's taters? What's taters, huh? Boil 'em, mash 'em, boil 'em, boil 'em.
Where's potato man plug? True. Yeah, this stream was bought by Big Potato. Okay. Ooh, hash browns are good too. Hash browns are good too. Now that is something I'll eat sometimes. On occasion, I will eat hash browns. Those are good. As far as Americans are concerned, any potato you deep fry is a damn good potato. I mean, yeah, mashed potatoes are good. And, there's a National Potato Promotion Board. Whipped potatoes? What is that? Cheese? You can also deep fry mashed potatoes. Oof. Interesting. I have been a secret agent of Big Potato this entire time. What is the history of potatoes? I have no idea. I like that there's a Research and Promotion Act, yeah. I've never actually had mashed potatoes with cheese. I mean, like, we put, like, sour cream, cream cheese, and milk. And, like, in the mashing, but... Alright, folks. Anyways, focus. Focus, people. What about loaded mashed potatoes with cheese, bacon, and sour cream? Now that you might, get me to eat that more than, with bacon? That sounds good. Wikipedia has a decent history of potato. It was the first domesticated vegetable in the region of modern-day southern Peru and extreme northwest of Bolivia between 8000 and 5000 BC. Interesting. Nice. Alright, folks. Focus. Florida. Okay? Charlie Crist will probably be joined by other contenders, possibly including State Agriculture Commissioner Nikki Fried, the only Democrat recently to win statewide, and Representative Val Demings of Florida, a former House impeachment manager and Orlando police chief who was shortlisted as a potential running mate for President Biden. Demings released a biographical video on Tuesday, timed to compete with Christ's announcement, and Fried teased Crist? Is it Charlie Crist or Christ? I don't know. Crist. On Twitter by recalling his past praise for her. The emerging Democratic field reflects the party's enthusiasm for taking back power in Trump's new home state, an historic bellwether that has shut out Democrats from almost every major contest there since Barack Obama won in 2012 by less than a percentage point. Yeah, I mean, I seriously think that they should just focus on winning, like, the state legislature. They should just focus on winning the state legislature, right? Like, I don't know about historic bellwether. Florida's a pretty reliably red state. So, I don't know if it has that status of, like, swing state anymore, you know? The Dark Ages in Europe sucked because they didn't have French fries. People sad. Good lord. Yeah, Trump is a Florida man. The Democratic National Committee Chair Jamie Harrison, who recently authorized $20 million in spending in states such as Florida before 2022, has taken to taunting DeSantis on Twitter while promising that we're going to be doing everything we can to defeat him. Yeah, but like, so sending like 5 people to challenge DeSantis and then not winning and splitting I don't know if this is a good sound strategy in my opinion. In a sign of how Democrats plan to campaign next year, Harrison called out DeSantis for opposing Biden American Rescue Plan, which sent 1,400 checks to most Florida adults. Maybe you should call up every one of those Floridians and tell them to give them their money back. Ah, true. Hey, Anarchist Laboratory, how's it going? Yes. Okay, Florida has a constant conservative population refresher from retirees. Yeah, but like that's my point. Like, I don't know if it's necessarily a swing state. I don't think we have that anymore. Republicans say they expect an onslaught of outside money into the state next year, given DeSantis' potential as a presidential contender if Trump does not run again. I mean, he's gonna try to prop himself up. I don't know. With Ron DeSantis being discussed as one of the front runners on the Republican side for 2024, gonna have a lot of people, liberals, billionaires from blue states, and dumping money and human capital into Florida, said Christian Ziegler, the state GOP vice chairman. The best way you prevent someone from getting to the major leagues is you take them out in the Grapefruit League, but the Florida GOP is not gonna let that happen. The Democratic case against DeSantis is expected to aim directly at the emerging identity of the current Republican Party under the hold of Trump, with its focus on opposition to transgender athletes, new voting restrictions, new laws barring disruptive protests, social media censorship, and restrictions on health measures meant to stem the spread of the coronavirus pandemic, all issues DeSantis has fully embraced in recent weeks. I mean, like, politically speaking, I think that the solutions to problems that don't exist, I think, should be the attack plan if it's going to work at all. I think that the messaging should be, you know, this dude just keeps providing and presenting solutions to problems that don't exist. He's just fainting action while not really solving any of the core issues that are happening in Florida. And we need someone to take bold leadership and provide real responses to real problems, right? What are you gonna do about the degrading ecosystem? Florida is is one of, you know, has a very unique ecosystem. So who should we vote for? I don't know yet. I don't know who the final contenders are going to be, so I can't make that really decision, and I haven't really seen who is, first of all, who's going to end up running, and second of all, like, who, out of all of those who are running, who would be the best, right? So I'm not really sure who I'm going to be voting for, or who I would say or advocate to vote for if you're in Florida. I don't know who's going to end up running or who's going to have the capability of even having a shot. Florida is a weird place. It will all grow in 6 months all over the roads, true. Reid said in an interview that she sees DeSantis as a symptom of larger realignment in American politics, which will ultimately benefit Democrats in the state. The governor, she said, moved away from the small government ethos of the old Republican Party, pointing to a recent $1 billion increase in sales tax on out-of-state online businesses that DeSantis signed, and a host of other state orders he supported that overruled the autonomy of local government. Yeah, it's another good line of attack. He has gone an extreme authoritarian fascist director and is no longer between the left and right. Reid said about the evolution of Florida Republicans during the Trump presidency. They are now of the party of tax and spend and overreaching in government. They just banned transgender girls from sports and have no idea why the government has to get involved in athletics. Crist hit upon similar themes in his announcement speech, accusing DeSantis of being mean and cruel to children by banning transgender athletes in women's and girls' sports. This is a governor who doesn't like, listen, or care about you unless you can write him a campaign check. I'm just summarizing here. I'm running so that you'll be in charge again and you'll have a governor who will work for people with a steady hand. DeSantis has been riding a recent wave of positive polling and publicity, becoming a frequent guest of Fox News primetime lineup while adopting a Trumpian taste for staging self-congratulatory public events, where he stands by the lectern as other officials praise his leadership, including an event Monday on Crist's home turf in St. Petersburg. On Tuesday in Tallahassee, DeSantis welcomed Democratic critiques of his coronavirus response and joked about Crist having shifted his political identity from the beginning when he was a governor, when he first became an independent and then a Democrat. Please run on lockdowns. Nobody's running on lockdowns. Okay, so like, okay. I implore them for my political interest, running on closing schools, run on locking people down, and run on closing businesses. I have yet to see anybody seriously advocate for that. I think that the TLDR of this is I think the TLDR, if the Democratic Party is going to run against Ron DeSantis, I think that they need to emphasize the fact that he's constantly like proposing solutions to problems that don't exist in the illusion of doing something, right? In the illusion of doing something, it just no real substance, just this emotional like, hey, let's see what we can do today to own the libs, and that's not good leadership. Okay, you can also attack him on his disastrous coronavirus response, Florida is in the situation that it is in, not because of DeSantis, but despite DeSantis, we didn't do worse, okay? A lot of the success early on with COVID was the fact that a lot of these local governments took action first before DeSantis even decided to maybe kind of think about doing something. So a lot of these local governments took action, and then he says that the state should have more of a hand in things. The state of Florida should have more of a hand in things in the local level. So like all of this can be used as angles of attack, I would say, but I don't know. It's going to be hard to defeat him. He literally made a nurse celebration holiday instead of providing more funding or support. Yeah, again, it's all just like, it's all performative. It's all political posturing to elevate his profile to potentially run in 2022 or 2024. That's what he wants. Okay, he's elevating his profile by doing these things, by doing these gestures that don't do anything necessarily. Okay. Alright, folks. So does anybody remember our good friends Jack Berkman and Jacob Wall? Does anybody remember? I know they've gone kind of like irrelevant until now. It turns out these two clowns did DeSantis have anything to do with that whistleblower nurse getting guns stuck to her face? We don't know, but it's interesting that such heavy-handed measures were done by the state, that it's kind of hard to say that, it's kind of hard to believe that he didn't know about that or didn't have somewhat of a hand. It's hard to believe that he didn't know or didn't have a hand in it. So our good friends Jack Berkman and Jacob Wall allege organized thousands of robocalls aimed at discouraging voters ahead of the 2020 presidential election, have lost an appeal to toss the case against them. So this is going to trial, folks. I'd also like to point out that hey guys, hold on, wait. If this goes through, guys. The Republican conservatives, the Republican Party was correct. There was an attempt to do a voter fraud and election fraud. There was an attempt. This is true. They're correct. We did find it. Except it was done by them. Except it was done by them to intimidate and discourage voters. In October, Jack Berkman and Jacob Wall were bound over to Wayne County Circuit on multiple felony charges, including voter intimidation and conspiracy to commit an election fraud, election law violation. The pair filed a motion to have it dismissed, and Circuit Judge Margaret Van Houten denied it on February 23rd. Berkman and Wall appealed to the Michigan Court of Appeals in March. Their application was denied on Thursday, which means that this just happened last week. Meaning the case heads to trial. I applaud the Court of Appeals decision, and my office stands ready to defending democracy against misinformation and an attempt to undermine our free and fair elections. A trial date has not been set. Reached Friday night, attorneys for both men told the Detroit News they plan to take the case to the Michigan Supreme Court. We feel there's a valid freedom of speech issue that is present. Okie dokie. Once our Supreme Court determines their interpretation on the law, the next step would be a review for Jesus Christ. I mean, they could try. They're welcome to try. They're welcome to appeal. Attorney Scott Grable, who represented Berkman, said, although I'm disappointed the Michigan Court of Appeals decided not to hear Mr. Berkman's appeal, I'm looking forward to filing a petition to the Michigan Supreme Court to address what I believe was an egregious violation of Mr. Berkman's constitutional rights. Okie dokie. Nessel's office first charged the men last fall, weeks after as many as 12,000 robocalls to Metro Detroiters discouraged mail-in voting by telling them their personal information would join a public database law enforcement officials and credit card company use. A recording of the call said it was made on behalf of Project 1599, a project spearheaded by Wool, a conservative social media personality, and Berkman, a conservative operative. Nice meme. Nessel's office found that authorities in New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Illinois reported similar robocalls to residents in urban areas with significant minority populations. Investigators allege more than 85,000 messages were sent nationwide. The National Coalition of Black Civic Participation filed a lawsuit on behalf of voters Berkman and Wool allegedly targeted. Days before the November 3rd presidential election, a federal judge ordered Wool and Berkman to make curative calls dispelling the misinformation. Yeah. What is it that was it Memo or Memmius? Gaslight, obstruct, and project. Is that what it is? I think it was Memmius or Memo for the record. One of you guys. Like this entire time, you know, we kept getting gaslit about like, oh, there's election irregularities and all this election stuff and election. Like, yeah, dude. Why is it that every time we keep finding, again, albeit a handful of these cases, why is it always like the majority of them conservatives? Nice meme. Nice meme. Speaking of the continuous descent of the GOP and demoting Cheney, GOP holds on to Trump at risk of further alienating others. Liz Cheney may be done with former President Trump, but her impending ouster from House Republican leadership is a clear sign the party insiders say that the GOP isn't done with Trump. Yeah, they're basically like, they're basically ousting her for having a dissenting view, which is really weird from the party of like free speech, and the freedom of ideas, and the freedom of ideas, and you know, it's okay to have dissenting opinions, right? It's okay to have dissenting opinions, and you know. This is just one giant meme at this point. This, by the way, is a let them fight moment. This is only going to result in them. This is only going to result in them continuously, like, or more probably, I should say, lose ground if they continue to do this. But of course, we don't need to tell them that. It's clear from like just an objective stance that Trump negatively impacted the GOP. I mean, Trump cost them the Senate. Trump cost them the Senate and the presidency, which ended up ceding all three branches to the Democratic Party. So yeah, I mean, just objectively speaking, Trump was a net negative. The calculation is that the party will be better off in the midterms elections embracing Trump than running from him, even if it means further alienating the kind of suburban voters who handed Democratic victories in 2018 and 2020. Go for it. Removing Liz Cheney from leadership will give a boatload of ammunition to the GOP critics. Yeah. I mean, yeah, like me. Republicans plan to remove Cheney as chair of the House Republican Conference, the number 3 position in the House GOP leadership, in a move to demote the highest-ranking Republican who voted to impeach Trump earlier this year. She has vocally criticized Trump's big lie that the election, that last election year was stolen. The GOP loves Trump. Surprise Pikachu face. Yeah, here we got one. We got one right here. Thanks to sourcing support, we got one. Shout out to sourcing support. Ayers warned that the efforts to exile Cheney, the highest-ranking Republican woman in Washington and the daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney, could further antagonize suburban voters, particularly college-educated women who ditched the party because of their opposition to Trump. They will also say there's no room in today's Republican Party for anyone willing to be honest about the 2020 election and the events of January 6th. That does not strike me as the best way to get back the suburban voters who have left the party in the last few years. Yeah, I mean, but don't tell them that. They're doing the right thing here. You know what? They're doing the right thing. You know what? They're doing the right thing. They're showing us. They're showing us just how much they care about dissenting opinions. They're showing us just how much they really care about the cancel culture, right? They care so much about freedom of speech that they're literally willing to throw the number 3 Republican, the number 3 powerful Republican in the Congress out because she had a dissenting view. Just because she had a dissenting view. That's really weird. I find that incredibly funny. Democrats who know most voters won't base their support on Republican infighting more than a year of the election, but that doesn't mean they're trying to leverage the dispute by arguing that Trump continues to control the party. I mean, he kind of does. The Republican Party is no longer a conservative party. It is an anti-democratic cult pushing the big lie and conspiracy theories. To a degree, that's true. I mean, this is what their leadership is saying. Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and Lindsey Graham of South Carolina say the party's priorities must be to keep Trump's supporters energized and on their side. They worry that any rejection of him, including his groundless claims about election, could demotivate some of his supporters from backing GOP candidates. Yeah. Okie dokie. I mean, sure. Alright folks, we did it. We did it. I would like to thank everybody who's hanging out here. Hey, how's it going? I would like to thank everybody that showed up today. I appreciate all your support. Again, shout out to Ben and his community. Like, thank you, my Floridian friend. Thank you. I'd like to thank Ben for bringing his community over here and showing a lot of support. Yeah, we need more potatoes. Yeah, this stream needs more potatoes. That's what it is. That's what we need. Just a little bit more potatoes on the stream. Well, I appreciate that. And of course, I would like to give a couple of, I just made hash browns. Nice. A couple of thank yous again, Reductive Matter and Barnes Emma for the offline follows. And now that I have a couple of seconds, next time bring a bucket of potatoes. Yeah, I'm gonna have like a bucket of potatoes just hanging out right here. So I would like to thank all the awesome content creators that are here. Please, if you see anybody with a little diamond next to them, go follow them. So thank you, Heat420, thank you, Golem, thank you, Surfer Girl Philly. By the way, I did see that you ordered You ordered merch. Thank you so much. I forgot to say thank you. How rude of me. I appreciate that support. Please go check out Anarchist Laboratory. And let's see, who else did I miss? Alio Share. Let's see. Rolem. I think I got everybody. Go follow all those awesome, fantastic content creators. A whole bucket. Do you think potatoes grows on trees? They grow on, well, not on trees necessarily. They grow on the ground. Ooh, restarting. Hey, why is my work computer restarting? Ah. Alright. Well, folks, unfortunately, I do have to get going, because if my computer is restarting, then I have to make sure everything is good for work. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out here. You guys are what makes this channel grow. So again, I'm going to ask you, if you enjoy the content, make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you like the stream, subscribe to the YouTube channel, do all that awesome stuff. And if you enjoy the content, spread the word far and wide that this is the chillest place to be for news and politics Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. That's what we do here. And join us Saturday, Catterdays. We have a chill and awesome time there. Usually just hanging out with you guys or playing video games. Super glad I joined chat today. Thank you so much for hanging out, Sexy Melly. Thanks as always. Thank you for hanging out here. Hang out with us on Saturday, Catterday, where we have video games and just hanging out. And join the Discord if you guys want to continue these conversations offline. Join the Discord. We are also trying to do movie nights, or movie days, I should say. We're trying to get a lot of stuff going. So join the Discord, keep up with the channel, all that awesome stuff. As always, I thank you guys for being here. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next stream. See ya! iDan Simpson. Let's head on over to iDan Simpson. See ya! Alright, folks, hang with me. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.